Since the election last year, everything has appeared to be going Reform UK's way, with it now leading the polls. However, it's not all been sunshine and rainbows for the insurgent party. There have been some very public fallings out at the very top of the party, which appear to have resulted in the creation of two new political parties, although it's worth saying that one of these prefers to be referred to as a political grouping. So in this video, we're going to have a look at these parties, why they were created, what they stand for, and what effect they're going to have on Reform UK. Never miss an episode and always feel in the loop by subscribing and ringing the bell. Now, the two parties that we're referring to are Restore Britain, founded by Rupert Lowe, and Advance UK, founded by Ben Habib. Let's look at these in turn. Rupert Lowe was first elected to the British Parliament last year, winning the seat of Great Yarmouth for Reform, taking it from the Conservatives with 35% of the vote. Initially, Lowe seemed aligned with Farage, but by January, the cracks had begun to show. Elon Musk took to X to call for Nigel Farage to resign, seemingly as a result of Farage's refusal to align himself with British far-right activist Tommy Robinson. On the back of this, Lowe claimed that Robinson should be acknowledged for exposing grooming gangs, but added that he was not right for reform. As a result, Musk, replying to a question about who should take over from Farage, said, "I have not met Rupert Lowe, but his statements online that I have read so far make a lot of sense." Perhaps the suggestion from the world's richest man that Lowe could be the leader of a now major British political party had gone to his head, because only a couple of months later in March, Lowe had begun to criticise Farage too. He claimed that Reform was essentially a protest party led by the Messiah, and suggested it was too early to tell whether Farage would make a good Prime Minister. Only a day later, Reform UK's chairman claimed that Lowe had made verbal threats towards him 3 months prior, and that, therefore, Lowe had been reported to the police. In addition to this, there were allegations of bullying within Lowe's office. Lowe denied these allegations, but nonetheless had the whip removed. In May, the Crown Prosecution Service stated that there was not enough evidence to provide a realistic prospect of conviction. Responding to this news, Lowe claimed that the case was a sinister attempt to weaponize the criminal justice system against me, and that, when the time comes, we will work together to advance a political movement that is credible, professional, decent, democratic, and honest. There will, very soon, be an alternative to the rotten leadership of Reform. This alternative was announced on the 30th of June, and is now called Restore Britain. Now, Lowe has been very clear that he doesn't see this as a political party, but rather a fundamentally different way of doing things, and that members of other political parties are welcome to join them if they share the same values. While the organisation doesn't yet have any actual policies, the idea is that its members will vote for its policies. Lowe is clearly hoping to emulate the success of Reform and other right-wing populist parties here. He stated that the group is for lowering taxes, slashing immigration, protecting British culture, restoring Christian values, quote, carpet bombing the cancer of wokery, fighting lawfare, and empowering individual enterprise. What's lacking here, though, is an actual plan. Lowe states that 2029 is the ultimate objective, but without an actual political party, they can't gain any power in Westminster, so it's unclear what this objective actually is. Anyway, let's move on and take a look at the other, actual political party founded by a former member of Reform UK, Advance UK, which was founded by Ben Habib. Now, up until the election last year, Habib was the deputy leader of Reform UK, and was clearly quite closely tied to Nigel Farage. He'd previously been an MEP for the Brexit Party, and was selected by Farage to stand in the Wellingborough by-election in February 2024. Habib lost the by-election, coming third, but garnering a respectable 13%. In the general election, he improved his vote share, rising to 21.5%, but still came third, and was not one of the Reform 5 to gain a seat in Parliament. As a result of this, Farage opted to replace him as deputy leader with Richard Tice, who conversely was one of Reform's 5 MPs, having won election in Boston and Skegness. Habib very publicly made his frustration about this decision known, posting on X he was considering his position in the light of the change. While he clung on for a few more months, Habib ultimately resigned from the party in November, claiming that he had disagreements with Farage over Brexit and immigration. Specifically, Habib claimed that he favoured mass deportation, something that Farage had been cleared to distance himself from. Habib then went on to criticise the party openly during the Rupert Lowe argument, claiming that Reform's chairman, Zia Youssef, had trumped up the charges against him. As a result, Habib called for both Farage and Youssef to resign. Then, in April 2025, Habib went further and announced that he was going to lead a new party to directly challenge Reform UK. Previously called the Integrity Party, Advance UK aims to be to the right of reform and claims it has 4 key aims: national unity, freedom of speech, restoration of democracy, and equality before the law. While they're short of actual policies, given Habib's background and some of the imagery from their launch video, it's fair to assume that they will include some hardline immigration policies alongside some conservative social policies. Interestingly too, Habib and co have gone to the effort of writing a 28-page constitution with a fairly complicated leadership structure. Essentially, the party is split into the leader, the party membership, the college, and the chair. The leader sets the policies, the party members elect the college elects the leader, and the chair oversees the college. Pretty simple, right? Discussing it in The Independent, Sean O'Grady claimed that not only is it complicated, but it's opaque and unworkable. And it's almost as if Habib deliberately created a structure guaranteed to create internal friction and splits. Anyway, Habib's organisation is attempting to be a more serious party than Lowe's, but can it actually work? Well, to be blunt, probably not. Brand new small parties in the UK just tend not to work. Reform is just a pretty glaring exception. The main reason that Reform worked is because of the personal brand of Nigel Farage. He's really well known and was able to put Reform UK on the map. But neither Lowe or Habib are anywhere near this. Parties also require huge sums of money to attract voters, and so far there's no indication that either party can actually raise this kind of money. And even Habib's promise to put £100,000 into the party personally if it gains 30,000 members just isn't enough. Anyway, stories about Reform UK are often complex and nuanced, and as such, there's plenty more to read about them online, with 55 sources reporting on the story about Zia Youssef, Reform's chairman, resigning and then rejoining the party. The issue is, how can you be sure that what you're reading isn't totally biased? Well, that's even a problem we face when writing these videos, and luckily it's where this week's sponsor, Ground News, comes in. For this story in particular, they've identified that there are at least 12 left-leaning and 10 right-leaning sources reporting on it. In fact, in addition to this, they've also shown the main differences in the headlines between left-leaning and right-leaning outlets, with those on the left highlighting the chaotic nature of Reform's party management, whereas those on the right highlight Youssef's return as a strategic reboot. We're able to do that thanks to Ground News, whose incredible website and app lets you discover the news and pulls back the curtain on media bias. That's because every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political bias, factuality, and ownership of the source's reporting, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organisations. But one of the best parts of the app is their blind spot feed. It presents you with stories and articles that haven't been reported on by one side of the aisle or the other, helping you better break out of your media bubble and discover what those on the other side of the political spectrum are really saying. For instance, if you lean left, you might have missed this story about the Israeli police preparing for an indictment against the Tel Aviv man who spied for Iran, because none of the reporting comes from outlets that lean left. However, if you regularly check the blind spot feed, you get shown what you're missing, helping you keep on top of what the entire political spectrum is thinking about, and why. If you're interested in everything that Ground News has to offer, you can get 40% off the Unlimited Vantage plan by using the link in the description, or scanning the QR code. This offer is only available here, so make sure you use our link to get started and support an independent news platform working to make the media landscape more transparent.